we want to really be the company where our people enjoy being a Mollie. We want to recruit also the talent who are passionate about the impact that they will have on our customers. It's not about what's written on our website, right? So what really builds culture is the people, and we want to make sure that we do it the right way. A meeting all together, they can learn everything about the business, about different departments, meet our leadership team, but most importantly, meet each other actually. And that's one of the main purposes of those onboarding days. Our company grew almost 300% in the last 3 years. So we have a lot of new people in the company. And we really want to make sure that all of the people at Mollie can feel our values, believe in our mission, and nourish that culture that we have.
We are here with Toma Skimelyte, Tech Talent Acquisition Business Partner for Mollie. Mollie is one of the fastest growing payment processing services providers within Europe. The company was noted as Europe's third biggest fintech in an article by CNBC. I'm so excited to have Toma on today to share with us her insights on hiring and retention. Toma, thank you so much for being with us.
Hi, it's really a pleasure to be here and talk to you today.
Could you start by telling us more about Mollie, your role, and any previous experiences that led you to the role?
Of course. So as you already mentioned, Mollie is one of the largest payment service providers in Europe. So the company was launched in 2004 by our founder, Adrian Moll, to really simplify the payments for online merchants. And a few years back, the company started to really grow and, of course, catch the attention of the market and managed to secure from A to C series investment rounds in only 2 years. And this, of course, gave the company a unicorn status and pushed it into the hyper growth phase as a company. So we scaled from around 300 people to 800 only in a couple of years. So it's an interesting journey to go through. And I joined Mollie 1.5 years ago, and I'm talent acquisition business partner focusing specifically on growing our product and engineering teams in Portugal and Italy now. Before Mollie, I worked in different companies, growing the technology teams in Booking.com and PVH, where I had an amazing opportunity to learn everything about the technology world, but also kind of realize what kind of impact it can have on the travel industry, but also fashion, especially how it can make much more sustainable. But having that experience, I actually realized that I also really enjoy that startup environment where you have to create the processes to scale the companies, where there are a lot of situations where you haven't dealt before. And it gives you a lot of opportunity to grow as well. So this is exactly what kind of environment I found at Mollie, and this is why I'm here.
So Mollie was named as a 2022 EMEA 60 leader by Payments, a global leader in payment news and analytics. You have a widespread reach with the product you've built, but you also have true support from within your employees. What are Mollie's driving core values, and what does the company do to make sure these values are genuinely resonating with your employees?
Yeah, so we actually really looked very closely into understanding what is our employer value proposition, meaning why would a talented person choose to work at Mollie over anywhere else? We know that as all scale-ups basically have some things in common, right? So usually it's a fun place to work, have a really fast-paced, and most of all, it has the growth opportunities. So promising these kind of things isn't just a powerful enough proposition for talent. What is powerful, what is different, is our mission. So we understood that we are a team that won't settle for anything less than love. And many brands can offer growth, but most don't offer love. And especially that's when we're talking about the financial or fintech area, that's quite unusual. And we want to really be the company where our people enjoy being a Mollie. We want to recruit also the talent who are passionate about the impact that they will have on our customers. And of course, we want our people to feel loved. So our employer value proposition is that we are driven by love. So this is, of course, supported by our core values: be loved, be bold, and be authentic. And definitely, we have a lot of programs and perks for our employees to foster a culture based on these values. So, for example, we have a mentorship program where you're matched with a mentor and a company who can support your growth there. We also have benefits beyond the company. So, for example, we are partnering with the Open Up company, giving all Mollie employees a really easy way to talk to somebody outside the company if they feel that they need some support. But we also make sure that we keep this kind of culture, and especially when we are growing as a company. And therefore, we have one interview in our hiring processes fully dedicated to our values. So we want to make sure that our new hires share the same value base as we do. So after all, culture is not about what's written on our website, right? So what really builds culture is the people, and we want to make sure that we do it the right way.
Now, you have worked in talent acquisition for Booking.com, PVH, and obviously now Mollie. Throughout your experiences, what types of recruitment events have you found impactful for companies to either host or attend?
Yeah, that's a really great question, because I really enjoy organizing and hosting and participating in the events myself. So that's like one of my favorite parts of the job in talent acquisition. Um, so I think that first of all, actually, you really have to answer the questions why you want to participate or organize an event. So what is the goal and what people you want to reach? So what is your target audience? And second, you have to make sure that the event serves the purpose and creates the value for both sides. So the company and the attendees of the event. And third, it has to be in line with your company values as well. And I'm mentioning that a lot, but definitely that's important for us, and has to be in line with everything what we do. So, for example, we really value the diversity at Mollie, and we strive to create the inclusive environment in the company. So we participated in the European Women in Tech conference earlier this year to really support the diversity and to share the knowledge, and of course to let people know that we care about inclusivity. So being said that, big conferences are usually more like for brand awareness, and it does not really generate like immediate recruitment results. So I am personally a really big fan of organizing small, intimate meetups where you can invite a small group of people and make an authentic connection with them. So, for example, when I was at Booking.com, I created a series of meetups that we were hosting every quarter, and we targeted very specific niche audience. So we created a local core infrastructure engineers community who can really learn from each other. And that was a great opportunity to show them the technical challenges that we are dealing with in a company, also our achievements and how we're doing things, and also our amazing office at that time that we had. So this is, of course, relevant if you still have an offers. But also this allows us to really generate more direct recruitment leads because we already had that personal connection with them. So we really wanted to give them those true insights into the company, and it created the feeling that they are already a part of our community within the company. So we had that relationship already. But I think what's really important to keep in mind when you're doing these kind of events is that you should aim to create some additional value to the attendees. So you should think about the content and engagement, and think what attendees can learn from you and how they can contribute as well. So, for example, talking about our meetups, after every single event, we were sending a survey to all the participants, asking, of course, about their experience, but also what kind of topics they would learn, they would want to hear about later on, but also how they would want to contribute. And we already have a lot of suggestions from external speakers suggesting that they want to be part of it, they want to give a talk there. So we really understood that we created that engagement and that community within the group of people because they want to share with each other.
Now, how companies approach the interview process really matters, especially today. We've seen time and time again how competitive talent doesn't want to deal with the excessive rounds of interviewing, especially when they're not at a lack of job options. We're also seeing how companies need to start bringing in some of those subjective questions on earlier in the process. So they don't get to the end and realize that their company goals don't actually align with the intrinsic motivations of the candidate. What is your advice on how to optimize the interview process and to the individuals that are part of the process for interviewing a candidate?
Yeah, so I think there are kind of two parts of this question. So first of all, how do you optimize it from the candidate experience, right? How do you make sure that, as you said, that you are in line to what the candidate is looking for and what the company is looking for? And that should be done from like the very initial conversations that you have as a talent acquisition or a business partner or recruiter in the company. So making sure to understand that you are on the same page, basically. But when we are talking about optimization of the recruitment process, it's also a little bit another side of it. So I think that in order to set that really good interview process for the company, you really need to understand the need from the business. So does the company want to grow? If so, is it in one area or like entire organization, or is it just like a one-off role? Because all these require very different approaches how we build the process. And so, for example, Mollie in the last couple of years really went through a hyper growth phase. So we had a really interesting challenge as rather small talent acquisition team, how we do that. So first of all, we started standardizing the interview process for similar roles. But most importantly, we had to get a buy-in from the business. So we needed to make sure that the whole organization is aligned on the growth plans, the approach to it, but also the efforts and resources that it will take. So we also needed to make sure that all the interviewers are calibrated on what we are looking regarding the skills, the knowledge, but also culture. We wanted to hire people who are not like only culture fit, but also culture add. So how people can help us to be better. And we needed to train the interviewers of how to conduct those good interviews, but also how to make good hiring decisions and how to be aware of your unconscious bias that you may have. In addition to that, when we were scaling the company, we also needed to make sure that we have the right tools to do that. So good ATS or scheduling system to really help you out as making those decisions. And once we had the basics, so we immediately started to test that out and to really get the feedback from our candidates, most importantly, but also from the business, from the interviewers, and iterate on the process. So we really wanted to be as agile as possible there. So my advice then for those people who are involved in creating the process is to really be a business partner. So collaborate with your hiring managers and then leadership team to constantly improve the hiring processes, but also to make sure that you're providing the best candidate experience. And you're not alone in this process. It's the hiring is like something that whole organization should be doing.
Now, I've seen some fun posts from Mollie about the company's onboarding experiences, and I know that you guys have worked hard to improve the onboarding process so that your new employees feel well integrated. Give us some insight on how Mollie approaches the onboarding experience.
Yeah, I think that our colleagues really enjoy the onboarding at Mollie indeed, and they share a lot of posts about that. So I think in general, onboarding, first of all, is such a crucial part for the business to set people for success, but also to engage with them, especially when the company is growing so fast. So starting a new job is exciting, but also can be stressful for some people. So you need to think about how to make this experience as light and engaging as possible. So this is especially can be possible now when we are working remotely, and a lot of companies just needed to connect to people online, but not in person anymore. So at Mollie, we have an amazing 3 days onboarding session every month for all the new joiners of that month. So meeting all together, they can learn everything about the business, about different departments, meet our leadership team, but most importantly, meet each other actually. And that's one of the main purposes of those onboarding days. So they can already start building those personal connections. We also have a buddy program. So your buddy is usually somebody in your team who can help you to understand all the processes, to onboard you to a particular role, and to basically be your go-to person. But what I think helped me the most when I joined Mollie is that I was really encouraged to meet as many people as possible, so that you can already build those connections. You can introduce yourself. You can get to know the people, and you can also get the information firsthand from them. So I really felt that it's important for the company for the very, very first days, and I think that's what keeps people engaged.
Now, there's a lot of conversations happening around what it looks like for companies to really invest in their current employees and to create that healthy and sustainable growth. What do you believe Mollie is doing that encourages long-term employee retention?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I think it can be like a huge discussion about that. But when I think about it, I think that what makes people stay in the company is if they can really resonate with the company's mission, and then that they see the purpose in their job, and of course that they can grow there. So our company grew almost 300% in the last 3 years. So we have a lot of new people in the company, and we really want to make sure that all of the people at Mollie can feel our values, believe in our mission, and nourish that culture that we have. And therefore, Mollie invests a lot into employee well-being. So we implemented a lot of benefits and perks so that people can really feel that. For example, we have well-being budget. We have partnerships with OpenUp. We have baby days for you to spend time with your family. We have like a budget for learning. We have budget for setting up your working from home environment and similar. And I think that the salaries is actually the one of the last reasons why people stay in the company. I think it's really the environment that you create and support people. So we really also give those opportunities for people to grow. So of course that comes with a startup environment already, because when you're scaling, you have to deal with a lot of different situations. You have to go to different markets. You have to understand how the business needs to operate in a different scale. But we also have like a lot of programs for you to also actively learn. So we have mentorship programs mentioned. We also have like learning platforms where you have a lot of content with external and internal trainings. So I think this is how we try to keep people. And I think that this opportunity for growth was also the reason why I'm staying at Mollie. So when I joined the company, I started hiring for Amsterdam, for example. But after 6 months, I started to hire for our completely new technology hub in Portugal, the country that we never had office before. So that was a huge learning opportunity for me. And now having that learning base already, I'm going to another market. We're starting hiring in Italy now. So that those opportunities that you're exposed to constantly, I think is really what keeps me engaged and happy in the company.
Last question for you, Toma, and I think you kind of touched on this in your previous answer, but at Solvable, we're all about what drives purpose and meaning for people at work. So I'd love to know what drives purpose and meaning for you at Mollie.
Yeah. So I think, in general, when I'm talking about talent acquisition, or like why I love being in this field, is very much the opportunity to help people to grow in their journey. So it's not only about me, but also helping out others. So creating those opportunities for them to join Mollie or other companies as well, and seeing that by doing that, they can really change their lives. Sometimes they have to go all across the world to join another company. So it's really changing completely everything. And I think that's what really gives me the happiness of work.
Toma, thank you so much for being on with us today. And thank you all for listening to Architects of Contemporary Hiring.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.